Sometimes staying calm is the most unhealthy thing you can do, especially when it becomes your automatic response to everything. We like to think calm people are the emotionally evolved ones. Anyone who reacts must be immature or unstable. But calm can also mean never allowing yourself to register pain. It's a quiet agreement you make with yourself to not feel too much. Society doesn't just accept this, it often rewards it with praise and trust. That's why this pattern spreads silently, without being questioned. To see why it matters, we need to slow down and name what's really happening. You're the one who listens more than you speak, who keeps your voice even in tense rooms, who rarely lets emotions spill out where others can see them. Inside, there's a steady tightness, like holding something fragile with both hands for a long time. Quiet, controlled, but never fully relaxed. Sometimes you wonder why, if you're so calm, you don't actually feel rested at the end of the day. What rarely gets named is that this calmness is not accidental. It's maintained through constant adjustment, restraint, and self checking. Over time, that effort becomes part of how you see yourself, reliable, composed, without noticing how much energy it quietly asks of you. Nothing dramatic happens in your day. No arguments, no breakdowns, no obvious stress to point at. Yet there's a dull fatigue that lingers, a sense of being worn down without a clear reason or moment that caused it. It can feel confusing to be tired when, on paper, everything looks manageable. Some forms of effort don't leave marks on the outside. They disappear the moment they're spent. When the work is internal and silent, it's easy to assume it shouldn't count, and even easier to question yourself for feeling its weight. When tension shows up, you absorb it rather than reacting to it. Other people release energy through expression, raised voices, sharp words, visible frustration, while you take it inward and smooth it out before it reaches the surface. That choice feels mature, responsible, even necessary, so it rarely gets questioned. But energy that isn't released doesn't vanish. It gets processed, held, and carried. Over long stretches of time, this creates not exhaustion from peaks and crashes, but a steady, almost invisible drain that becomes your baseline. You go to work, handle your responsibilities, show up for others, and nothing ever fully falls apart. Still, there's a heaviness that follows you, one that doesn't come with urgency or alarms. It can make you doubt whether what you're feeling is real, because you were taught that fatigue needs chaos or crisis to be valid. Yet constantly regulating yourself, staying neutral, steady, composed, costs something, even when life looks calm from the outside. The absence of visible struggle doesn't mean the absence of wear. At some point, you may begin to notice patterns rather than searching for fixes. The tiredness stops feeling like a personal failure and starts to look more like information you were never taught to read. This awareness doesn't demand action or optimization. It simply makes space for a different interpretation of yourself. When confusion fades, judgment often follows it out, replaced by a quieter kind of clarity. And with that clarity, the way you relate to your own limits begins to shift, slowly, without force, without conclusions. Sometimes what we call calm doesn't arrive with relief, but with a soft thinning of something inside. It can feel peaceful on the surface while quietly asking us to stop reaching for more. Maybe you've noticed moments where nothing feels wrong, yet nothing really feels present either. And you wonder, without urgency, whether that stillness is something you chose, or something you slowly adapted to. There's a delicate line there. one that's easy to miss when life has been loud for too long. Between being quiet and being numb, the sensations can look almost identical from the outside. Sitting with that difference, even without naming it yet, can change how the calm itself begins to feel. Hey there! If you have something in your mind, write it down so we can talk about it. Until then, keep calm and stay healthy.